Hey guys, here is the long-awaited video of the KRX 1000 with the new motor swap. What is the motor going to be? I have some things here that I want to go over. I want to have reasons on why I'm doing this, and then we are going to open the package and show you guys what motor we are actually going to install in this. Now, like I said from day one, this is something Kawasaki should have offered to the public to begin with. Alright guys, let's start this video off with explaining what we have going on here. This machine is a 2020 KRX 1000 that I bought brand new. As of today's date, it only has 209 miles on it, and there's a reason for that. So as you can see behind me, there's no motor in here. I pulled this motor out and I sold the motor with 209 miles. This thing ran perfect, drove perfect, there was no issues with this machine in the slightest, except for what I'm about to explain. And this, my friend, is the reason why this KRX only has 209 miles. This, my friends, is a Force Turbo Kit. Now, I have a couple of videos I'm going to be reposting back up. I pulled them down of the unboxing of this. It's a very beautiful, nice, well-machined kit. Pieces wise, other than the fact that this tube here that goes across the front of your belt was too long by 1.25 inches, and I had to chop it off here and add this boot. So that was one problem from the manufacturing side. I powder coated everything green. But other than that, the welds on the kit, the exhaust, the muffler, I mean, it was a beautiful TIG job. The welds are beautiful on it. But there's a major problem with this setup. So this Force Turbo Kit was installed on this machine at 208 miles. It made it to 209. I never even put a full mile on this machine. This thing was never going to run on that machine. I don't understand why, because the supercharger kits seem like nobody has problems with the supercharger, but the Force Turbo Kits, nobody seems to ever have a good I mean, there were a few guys that got them running pretty decent, they said, but they still say, those guys, it's not exactly where I want it to be, but it's close enough. Who the hell wants that? I called multiple, they gave me 5 different tunes. I had a dyno rented for 2 days. I have other videos in my playlist of the dyno time, and we tried 5 different tunes. This did make 111 horse at the rear wheels on a non-clean tune. It would just break up no matter what we did. Some of the tunes, we couldn't even get the tires spinning on the dyno. It had no power. And at the time, they have changed tuners, but at the time, there was the tuners, oh, I don't know, this tunes that I'm sending you works on all these other stock machines. Totally stock machine here, down to the air filter. And with just the turbo kit bolted on it, but none of them run the same tune. None of them are tunable the same way. I don't understand that. It is what it is. So I decided after a whole bunch of time of having aggravation with this dyno, this turbo on the dyno, that, oh, we never told you to rent a dyno. We never told you to do that. The best way, as obviously everybody watching this video understands if you're reading in any kind of a motor swap or a turbo or supercharger kit, the best way to tune it is to read the air and the fuel and to have it on a dyno and run it through its paces, up and down, through RPMs, and make the thing so it's adjusted properly so you have a perfect tune in all levels. They wanted me to do 3 different types of driving and record it on the dyno jet and then send it to them, and then they would send me back a tune, and then they would adjust it, send me back a tune, and then drive it around again, send it back to them, send it back to me, a new tune, put a new tune in, and they would keep playing with the tune that way, which On the dyno, it never got anywhere. I couldn't get a hold of them some of the times. They weren't answering the phone. I spent hours at the dyno with them not answering me back, knowing I'm at the dyno. It was pretty much just a disaster. And I decided I don't want to deal with this turbo kit anymore. So unfortunately, I still own this turbo kit and it is up for sale. Maybe I'll end up giving it away in one of these videos if we can get some more subscribers and so on. I don't know. But enough about the turbo. I'm sick of the turbo. You guys can see my other videos if you want to see what I really think about the turbo. But what is this turbo sitting on? Look at this box. What is this? This is a brand new Craft Superworks Supercharger kit with intercooler for the KRX 1000. This is brand new in the box. I've opened the top of the box and looked in. I haven't pulled out one package. So I have no idea even what this kit looks like. I've had this kit for about a year. After I couldn't get a hold of anybody to give me any kind of good information or anything to do with this turbo kit, I went and bought the Supercharger kit. So we're looking at about $8,000 between the two sitting here. We're not talking about dyno time and power programmer or any of that other stuff. $8,000 to basically never ride my KRX again. So it was take the turbo kit off, because you know there's a lot of problems they say with where it's located, that it runs too hot and it can catch these things on fire. There's a lot of comments about people pulling the studs where the manifold for the turbo goes into the cylinder block, pulling the studs out, melting the studs, stripping those out, having problems with those. After hearing all of these problems that I didn't really hear about back when I bought this turbo, and then knowing the kind of issues that I've had with it and couldn't get it to tune, I went, looked up whatever I could, and I found all good information, reviews and everything on this Craftworks kit. So I said, I'll buy the Craftworks kit. Well, getting into it, there's a couple of things that they don't really tell you and so on, like you should pin your crank, drill your crank and pin it. You know, that there's been a couple of motor problems with that and so on, and it's not a big deal. It's really a cheap kit. I think All Access sells a pin kit for it for like $100, and there's ways to get around that and so on, but I'm just thinking in my head, you know, how much power am I really going to get out of this KRX with this motor and this supercharger and pinning the crank and making sure I don't have any other problems? Am I going to melt cylinder number 2 with forced induction? I don't know. So bottom line comes down to, I came up with the idea that I'm going to do this motor swap. Okay guys, so we're now down to this. So we are here in South Carolina. This is McNasty Customz, as a lot of you guys know and follow us, and we do a lot more Razor stuff usually than the KRX stuff. But we are building a racetrack in the back in Hampton County, South Carolina, and we are going to have the McNasty Grudge compound. We are going to have a drag strip down the motor. We're going to have, you know, short courses, long courses, oval tracks. We're going to have mud bogs, burnout bogs, you know, and so on. We're going to have a whole mud area, driving the water, a few small trails and so on. And we're going to have a bounty hole course. So we're going to have a lot going on here. We're going to be offering prizes and so on. So guys, like and follow the channel. Share it with whoever you want to. If you're down south and in the area, we're going to be throwing a lot of grudge races for like YouTube channels and so on. And people that want to actually have a grudge or a race or a team against another team and so on. We're going to try to be throwing that here as actual events and not just open to the public. So guys, that's the entire point of this motor here. So one, I kind of was going to go buy a brand new Pro R, and that was where I was thinking, and then our Turbo, a Pro R, and you know, those are making like 400 horse. But I mean, you got to take the price into consideration. I already own this machine. For what I sold the stock motor for, I pretty much bought this motor. Once I sell the supercharger and I sell or give away the turbo kit, it's basically not going to cost me anything when I'm said and done other than my time. And I own a fabrication shop. We make parts. I don't care about the time that goes into something like this. I enjoy it. So, let's reveal this thing. All right, so let's see how this comes out on video, but we are cutting the first plastic. And we are going to reveal some of this here. So I bought as much of this complete motor as I could get from one buyer. Okay, so this may give away a little bit of the surprise. Ooh, I hit the camera. 4 cylinders of power. Okay, let's cut this thing open. Let's reveal this thing. I haven't even got a look at this thing other than the pictures online when I bought it. And this guy did a great job wrapping this thing up. All right, guys, you are going to see it at the same time that I see it. Well, maybe you'll see it at the same time I see it. Look at it. Ah! Check it out, boys. This, my friends, is a 2020 Kawasaki H2 supercharged street bike motor with only 1,300 miles on it. So this motor right here with a simple tune is capable of putting down 250 horsepower. 249 actually. This is your plenum right here. And this, my friends, is your supercharger. Air filter setup comes in through the side, supercharged, and directly into the motor. So along with our motor and our exhaust, the factory exhaust header for it, I got this box of parts as well. I am opening it up and looking at it for the first time to see it with you. Let's see what we got here. We got a lot of supporting things. Rectifier. There's the brand new, well, the rectifier, not brand new. ECU. Here's the computer. Hopefully this thing's tunable, huh? Ignition setup with keys. Gauge cluster. Handlebar switch. Well, the gas cap with keys. It was a full set, so I had to get the gas cap and all that with it. The ignition. Well, this is the holder to hold the computer. And a complete wiring harness. So let me put this all out up here and give you guys a quick look at this. Okay guys, so here are all the extra parts I have for this install. I still have to source some more pieces, but we have an ignition, we have the rectifier, one of the handlebar switches you can see right here, we have the computer, and then we have the correct gauge cluster with the right miles. This is a full wiring harness, so it's got all the relays, and it's even got the rear lights in the back here. And that's pretty much everything. We need one handlebar control for the start button and so on. It's got the fuse box, the fuse panel, everything in here. Starter relay. Everything we're going to need. A couple small pieces. So I'm going to wire the kickstand switch and stuff that we would never need, obviously, in this setup. I'll hardwire all of that. Let's get another look at this motor here. See, we don't have any damaged cases. No issues like that during shipping. Everything looks to be in great condition. All the hoses, and we're going to have to figure a lot of this out because, well, I guess I should tell you some of the setup that we're going to run here. See, there's no issues with any damage anywhere. I'll have to do something, make some kind of an airbox. But yeah, I mean, we're going to stuff it in there. And I mean, so let me just give you the quick rundown of what I think this is going to turn out as. Okay guys, so the H2 motor will get mounted here. Whether I mount it onto the factory KRX mounts or not, I'm not sure. Those are all rubber bushings. I might want to hard mount this. Take this rear seal out of the rear rubber out of the differential in the back here, the transmission, and make some aluminum mounts or something. But what I'm going to run it through is the KRX motor into the factory Kawasaki driveline. So this driveline is going to run to the front. So we're going to have four-wheel drive or two-wheel drive. We're going to have high, low, reverse, and park, just like a factory KRX. The shift cable is still hooked up, and I'm going to plan on trying to use that. So what my idea is I'm going to machine a sleeve to come over this shaft where the secondary clutch went on, and I can machine it, probably a couple of them, because I'm going to have to play with sprocket ideas. And I could put sprockets on this setup, and we can run chain from sprocket to sprocket, just like the street bike would be. Now I can adjust that up and down and figure out if I want a 1-to-1 ratio and so on, because I'm not sure with this. I'm not sure what the ratio is in here yet. I haven't done the research on it yet, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out together. And that obviously has 6 gears. So it will have forward 6 gears. It'll have everything 6 gears. So it'll have reverse 6 gears, and it will have low 6 gears. So technically it would have 12 speeds. I'm thinking the clutch in that machine should hold up pretty well. Again, this is going to be a track race machine. It's not going to be something to take to Hatfield McCoy and try to run 200 miles of trails in. So I'm assuming that the clutch should hold up. But they have locker clutches. They have all kinds of things we'll buy for street bikes that hold 400 and 500 horsepower. So we'll see. The longevity of it, I don't know. We'll find out. We're all in this together. We're going to figure this all out together. So I want a rear mount radiator this. I want to possibly do an intercooler, but not right off the rip. And I don't know what I'm going to do for a nice exhaust. Obviously, this thing's going to be loud ripping through gears. So like I said earlier, I may cut the entire back of this frame and move the entire frame back 6 inches. Not that I need the room in here to install the motor, because there's plenty of room here, and then obviously there's plenty of room behind the seats anyway. There's only that 1-2 brace in there, and I could actually move this rear wall, firewall, whatever you want to call it. I could move that forward 6 more inches if I had an exhaust issue or so on, which I don't see any of that. But the main reason you make it like a Pro R is you bring everything back 6 inches. It would handle upcoming jumps and so on. It would handle a lot better. Even though the KRX already handles them really well, who says it couldn't handle them better? Well, the idea was, I was thinking about chopping most of this frame off in the back here, this back section, and redoing the cage. So if I chop most of this frame off and I build it all together, I could actually just unbolt the entire back half of the frame, and I can pull the engine and transmission and work on everything without having to get in there and pull all the I mean, I could just pull 6 bolts, 8 bolts, and slide the entire frame out, suspension and all. So that's an easy way to work on it if there is, you know, looking at it to do clutches and so on in the future, is it kind of maintenance and so on. But this will be mostly all Kawasaki parts, everything they offered. I'm going to get the wiring harness running, the key, the speedometer, everything, the high, low, reverse, the 4-wheel drive. Everything should work on this as the Kawasaki did. Hey, check out our KRX upper doors, McNastyCustomz.com. One more thing I may be doing is possibly making this a center seat like an RS1. I may possibly do that, move the steering column over a little bit, and just mount the seat in the center. That's a possibility. I'm going to obviously start the motor first and so on, take it from there first, but I don't know. So guys, follow the builds. We're going to try to keep updated builds on this, motor mounts, everything we're going to make. We're going to make in-house, and we're going to try to show you how to install everything, get it all going. And so maybe possibly this is something you could do. If you guys are interested, maybe I could make a design for the motor mounts and so on and get it so I can sell you guys the motor mounts if you guys wanted to do this. I understand this build is not going to be for everybody, but we're going to see. We're all going to learn this and experience this together. Whether it's a good idea or a bad idea, you guys don't have to pay for it. Luckily, it's my dime. I waste my money if it doesn't work out well. It either works out good and it's really fast and a fun machine, or it burns clutches out of it every time I ride it and I get sick of the thing on the racetrack. I don't know. We'll take it from there. Guys, follow along, like and subscribe to the channel. We're going to try to start, once the channel grows a little bit bigger, giving away some giveaways and so on. So guys, please share this. I'm trying to grow the station. This is new build. We're going to have the racetrack out back and so on, and we're going to be inviting you guys down. So let's just try to grow as a community on the McNasty Grudge compound, on the McNasty Customz page. Guys, thanks for watching and stay tuned. I told you, I'm going to give you something Kawasaki should have made.